What do we really know about Greece? Was Athens truly the birthplace of democracy, or was there a hidden power behind the scenes? Did the Minoans vanish suddenly, or did someone else shape their fate? How much of Alexander the Great's legend is myth, and what truths have been deliberately obscured? Were the city-states really independent, or did secret alliances control the balance of power? And what do the inscriptions, artifacts, and forgotten documents reveal that history books never tell? These are the questions we begin with, inviting the viewer to reconsider everything they thought they knew. Greece is remembered as the cradle of Western civilization. The Minoans built palaces in Crete, adorned with frescoes and advanced plumbing. Mycenaeans fortified their citadels with massive walls that survive even today. Athens gave birth to democracy, Sparta to military discipline, and philosophers like Socrates and Plato asked questions about life, ethics, and the universe. Alexander the Great extended Greek influence across 3 continents. Rome later absorbed Greece, but Greek language, culture, and ideas survived through the Byzantine Empire and into the modern state. This is the version most people learn in school, the known story. Yet among these well-known facts lies a fragment that history has overlooked. An inscription discovered in Athens centuries ago mentions names and events that do not appear in any other record. It hints at alliances, rituals, or acts that contradict the standard narrative. At first, scholars dismissed it as a clerical error or a local custom, but modern analysis suggests it may have been far more significant. This small anomaly casts doubt on what we assume we know. The story begins with the earliest civilizations. On Crete, the Minoans thrived on trade, art, and maritime prowess. Their palaces, such as Knossos, were architectural marvels, with multi-story buildings, complex drainage systems, and vibrant frescoes depicting athletic competitions, religious rituals, and natural scenes. They traded widely across the Mediterranean, exchanging pottery, obsidian, metals, and ideas. Their society was highly organized, suggesting a sophisticated bureaucracy that left few written records beyond the still undeciphered Linear A script. Their sudden disappearance, once attributed solely to natural disasters such as the eruption of Thera, may also have involved political upheaval, foreign incursions, or internal collapse, though the evidence is fragmentary. Meanwhile, the Mycenaeans rose on the mainland around 1600 BCE. They built imposing citadels like Mycenae and Tiryns, fortified with massive stone walls that survive even today. They developed Linear B, an early form of Greek writing used to record trade, inventories, and tribute. Tombs, such as the shaft graves and tholos tombs of Mycenae, reveal wealth, social hierarchy, and connections to wider Mediterranean networks. Life was precarious. Earthquakes, invasions, and internal struggles constantly tested these societies. The palatial centers were not only administrative hubs, but also centers of culture and religion. Religious rituals were practiced in shrines within the citadels, and communal ceremonies likely reinforced loyalty to the ruling elites. By the end of the 12th century BCE, the Mycenaean civilization began to decline. Cities were abandoned, palaces destroyed, and literacy nearly vanished. This period, known as the Greek Dark Ages, was marked by reduced population, fragmented communities, and a loss of centralized administration. Yet even in this time, cultural foundations were preserved. Oral traditions carried memories of heroic exploits, which centuries later would form the basis of Homeric epics, preserving a sense of identity and continuity amid social upheaval. By the 8th century BCE, Greece entered a period of resurgence. Communities reorganized into city-states, or polis, each with its own identity, government, and culture. Athens cultivated democracy, though participation was limited to a fraction of the population. Sparta emphasized military discipline and communal loyalty, raising generations of citizens in rigorous training. Corinth leveraged trade to accumulate wealth, founding colonies across the Mediterranean. Festivals, temples, and athletic competitions reinforced social cohesion and shared cultural identity.
Temples, such as those in Delphi and Olympia, served as religious, political, and social hubs. Citizens moved through marketplaces, sanctuaries, and theaters with purpose, negotiating trade, worship, and civic participation. In the midst of this flourishing culture, a small detail went unnoticed. During the 5th century BCE, an inscription was carved in a secluded sanctuary near Athens. It recorded a ritual or offering, referencing names and alliances absent from any other known historical document. Its significance was obscure. At the time, it seemed a minor local custom. Scholars of later centuries dismissed it as a clerical error or a local custom, but modern analysis suggests it may have been far more significant. This small anomaly casts doubt on what we assume we know. Athens and Sparta clashed in the Peloponnesian War, a prolonged conflict that reshaped the political landscape. Citizens endured sieges, famine, and disease. Soldiers marched into battlefields where chaos reigned, strategy often breaking down under the pressure of human error and circumstance. Civic life in Athens was interrupted by fear and uncertainty. Temples, theaters, and marketplaces bore witness to the rhythms of ordinary life amid extraordinary stress. While major events were chronicled, smaller alliances, secret pacts, and local customs often escaped notice, including the one hinted at in the earlier inscription. The rise of Macedon under Philip II, followed by Alexander the Great, brought Greek culture to a new scale. Alexander's campaigns extended Greek influence from the Mediterranean to the borders of India. Cities were founded along his routes, administrative systems implemented, and Greek language and culture spread widely. Yet accounts of his campaigns are sometimes contradictory, with rumors, myths, and exaggerations interwoven with fact. The fate of companions, the sequence of battles, and the details of succession were often unclear. Even in these records, subtle anomalies, such as forgotten alliances, hint at a more complex political reality. After Alexander died, Hellenistic kingdoms emerged in Macedonia, Egypt, and Asia. Greek culture continued to flourish, producing advancements in science, philosophy, and the arts. Libraries, observatories, and theaters became centers of knowledge, yet many inscriptions, local records, and accounts of diplomacy were lost, destroyed, or ignored. The silent puzzle of earlier anomalies persisted. Artifacts from these centuries suggest connections and agreements between city-states that had not been formally recorded, hinting at cooperation beneath the surface of rivalry. Roman conquest brought new challenges. Greece was absorbed into the Roman world, cities became provinces, and Greek elites adapted to imperial rule. Temples and public buildings were maintained or repurposed. Greek language and culture remained influential in administration and philosophy, ensuring continuity of ideas even under foreign domination. Yet records were incomplete, manuscripts were lost, and oral traditions shifted over time. Small inscriptions, like the one in Athens, remained obscure, their significance obscured by larger historical narratives. The Byzantine Empire preserved Greek identity through centuries of political and religious upheaval. Monasteries and libraries safeguarded manuscripts. Education and literacy fluctuated but survived. Local knowledge persisted through oral traditions and hidden archives. Archaeological evidence reveals continuity in art, architecture, and religious practice. At the same time, lost documents, fragmentary inscriptions, and unexplained rituals remind us that much of the past remained hidden, even to contemporaries. Ottoman rule introduced further challenges. Greek communities navigated foreign governance, social hierarchy, and shifting economic structures. Cultural preservation often occurred in secret. Monastic schools, clandestine teaching, and the transmission of manuscripts ensured continuity. Yet scholars in distant lands were unaware of many of these preserved documents. Anomalies, forgotten rituals, and inscriptions continued to exist on the margins of recorded history, hinting at stories the dominant narrative had ignored. In the 19th century, Greece emerged as a modern state following the War of Independence. Systematic archaeological excavations began to uncover palaces, tombs, temples, and artifacts from ancient civilizations. Scholars attempted to reconcile literary accounts with physical evidence. It was in this context that the obscure Athens inscription was revisited. Its peculiar names, once dismissed as errors, began to reveal a pattern consistent with secret alliances and cultural practices between city-states, previously unknown to historians. Modern scientific techniques, including radiocarbon dating, epigraphy, and multispectral imaging, clarified the fragmentary evidence. Subtle variations in inscriptions became readable. Patterns of trade, diplomacy, and ritual emerged. Even minor anomalies like the one in the sanctuary were recognized as indicators of broader political and cultural realities. This small fragment, once overlooked, became central to understanding the cooperative networks that shaped Greek history. Piece by piece, evidence from tombs, inscriptions, architecture, and artifacts came together. The mysterious inscription reflected alliances, shared rituals, and political strategies not recorded anywhere else. Connections across centuries, from Minoan trade networks to Mycenaean fortresses, classical Athens,
Hellenistic kingdoms, and Byzantine continuity now formed a coherent picture. The hidden chapters of Greek history revealed the complexity and subtlety of human behavior, both ordinary and extraordinary. Even minor fragments transformed understanding. Historians realized that city-states, while often portrayed as independent and competitive, engaged in diplomacy and cooperation behind the scenes. Rituals and offerings, once considered local curiosities, revealed broader patterns of political and cultural cohesion. Lost documents, previously ignored, became essential pieces of the historical puzzle. The hidden narrative, spanning centuries, connected events, alliances, and cultural practices across time. History is never complete. Facts may be obscured, destroyed, or overlooked. Yet even the smallest traces, an inscription, a forgotten ritual, an artifact buried in the earth, carry truths waiting to be discovered. In Greece, the tension between what is known and what remains hidden reminds us that civilizations endure not only through monumental events, but also through subtle, often unnoticed interactions. The past cannot be fully erased. It persists, waiting for those who investigate, notice anomalies, and follow the traces of curiosity wherever they lead. The small, unexplained inscription, once a footnote, now stands as a testament to the persistence of truth. It reminds us that even in the most studied history, a single fragment can transform understanding. The story of Greece, from the earliest settlements to the modern nation, is both certain and mysterious, clear and incomplete. In the balance between what is remembered and what was hidden lies the enduring fascination of studying history.